Hello and welcome to 2025. Here we are in Poppa's workshop, just going over again a few of my pastimes. I know I've got a bit of an obsession with certain things, and one of them seems to be these little Coleman cookers. Now, I'm usually quite a purist, so if I find a brand that I like, I tend to stay with the brand. Most of my tools are DeWalt. Most of my outdoor gear is pretty much all the same brand. Most of my cookers, as you probably know from some of the other videos, are Coleman. What I've found is this little device which looks like a Coleman stove on eBay, and I stumbled across it really because, as per my obsession, I was looking for other Coleman cookers, cheap little bargains really, just that maybe need a little bit of attention and something doing to make them work. But I came across this, and it was £20. I paid £20 for it. It's apparently only been used once, but it is a clone. Now, do we refer to them as clones, or are they copies, or whatever? I don't know. I know that aesthetically it looks very similar to a Coleman. Filler cap looks very much the same. The priming is very similar. There's a couple of differences which I'll go on to point out. But I just wanted to have a play with it, see what it's like. I can understand why people would go for these things now because, you know, the cost of living is going through the roof. A lot of people are starting to holiday in the UK, going camping with the kids and that kind of thing, which in my opinion is great. It's brilliant. And if you can facilitate that by, maybe buying cheaper products, then great. Just as long as they're safe, they're functional, they do what they're meant to do, then I don't really have any snobbery around that. But what I wanted to do was just do a bit of a comparison, really, see what it's like, and see whether I think it was worth the 20 quid. Like I say, it's a bargain device, really, but how much of a bargain is it? Will it have the longevity? If I need to replace the generator, is that something I'm going to be able to do? If I need spare parts for it, will I be able to get them? Who knows? But what it does come with, which is quite interesting and is, I suppose, a bit of an innovation from what the Colemans are, is some spare jets. Now, these jets, as you can see on this one, are for different fuel types. That was a diesel one, and this one is alcohol. I don't have any diesel here, I do have alcohol, I've also got some petrol. I'm going to do the comparison with petrol today purely because, if you don't do it with petrol, you're comparing apples with oranges. So I think if I'm going to do a boil test, then I really need to be doing petrol in both cookers. Not that I believe the Coleman supports many other fuels other than perhaps methanol alcohol or methanol alcohol, the biofuel, or the white gas, which we can't get over here. We just have to buy the Coleman fuel. The clone, I'll refer to it as the clone, comes with a little tool, and I believe this is for doing various different bits of maintenance. But as you can see, it's got a couple of nice things with it. Most of it is in Chinese, so I would probably have difficulties getting through that without actually having some kind of translation tool. But I believe there are some YouTube videos on how to light these and things are available by the manufacturer online. So let's get into these products then. The first thing is I want to just take a quick look at the pump cup. Now the pump cup is fastened in pretty much the same way as the Coleman lamps. The Coleman seems to be a little bit better, but this has got the plastic lock nut, the bayonet type fitting, and this comes out. If you slide that out, let's see what we've got. There's no inside. There's no guide rod or anything like that. It just goes straight down to the valve, I'm assuming, and the check valve, well, from what I can see, doesn't look a huge amount different. Looks like it's removable. So the pump itself has a plastic washer, and it's also got a lock nut on there. So it looks like it's very similar in construction, but maybe a little bit more robust on the end. It doesn't have any way of air inlet through the stem, whereas the Coleman does. So we'll see how it works and how it pressurizes. I've already pressurized my my existing Coleman stove, and I've done that through popping 20 pumps into that, so it feels like there's plenty of pressure in there for a light. So this one's got no fuel in it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop some fuel in. Let's take a look at the cap. The cap looks very similar. I've got pressure in this, so I'm just going to leave that on, but it looks almost identical. If you was to compare those, they look almost identical. I'll get a photo of those separately. So this is going to need a bit of fuel. I'm going to put the cap back on and just test it for a bit of pressure first, and see how we get on. It feels, I don't know, it just feels, it doesn't feel as good quality as the Coleman cap, let's put it that way. I can hear pressure going in. Yeah, and it's clearly getting pressure there. So we'll pop some fuel in it and see how we get on. I'll move these to one side. I tend to use these syringes for filling it with fuel, just purely because I can control it a little bit better. Hello, sorry for the disjoined video here. I've just had to pop out and do a little errand for my daughter, who's looking to have some work done to her house. So I had to terminate the test early. I'm just going to jump back into it, relight the stove now so you can see what it's like to relight. Not overly confident with it, if I'm being brutally honest. There's a little piece of gauze in the bottom which I think is primarily designed to soak up the fuel, and then it turns gaseous there. I've got the door open, so you can probably hear a lot of traffic noise that's coming through, so I apologise ahead for that, but given the amount of black smoke this thing gives off, I thought it'd be wise just to keep that open. So I've got some water, I've got a kettle. I'm going to do a boil test, and we'll see roughly how long it takes. Like I say, I'm not in a massive rush to pester this through and try and get, I suppose, the thing lit safely is the main key. But we'll see how we get on. So here we go. Gonna get the thing lit. So if I turn this around, actually, you can see I'm still not happy about this. It sticks out way too far, in my opinion. If you look at it and compare it to the Coleman, you know, and it springs back out as well, so you know it's not ideal. There's a lot of soot, as you can see, on the top. Let me get a bit of sponge or something. So you can see an awful lot of soot that's on it, so that just gives you an idea as to how efficient this thing burns. So anyway, let's get it lit and show you the process. So all I'm going to do is turn this valve using this little it's like a spring keyring type thing. It does twist as well, so I should imagine you can easily twist it out of the aperture that it's stuck in. So here we go. Even with this and at a distance, I still took some hairs off my hand. Whoa. Right, so that's up full. See the black smoke, it's terrible. The flames are massive. So you can just see the height of my head. There's an awful lot of black smoke up there. There's an awful lot of fuel in this as well. It doesn't, to me, feel as efficient and as smooth as the Coleman. Just out of contrast, I just like the Coleman now. to give you an idea of speed, the Coleman is up to speed already. Now this just, the amount of black smoke that is putting off, I'm not impressed at all with this. Like a bomb. I'm going to turn that off. Let's get it out. Okay, that's out. So, as you can imagine, that was quite eventful. The Chinese cooker, unless I was doing something completely, you know, off the ranch, I've got absolutely no idea why it did what it did. Basically, it looks like there's something in the bottom of the cooker which absorbs fuel that potentially burns, heats up the generator then turns the fuel into gas, and then it ignites. But ultimately the cup that's at the bottom of the cooker seemed to just fill up with fuel, and it was overflowing with fuel and setting fire to the table. As you could see from the video that I posted, the amount of fuel that was coming out of that was a bit of a concern for me. I was initially going to go and get the fire extinguisher, and I just thought, actually, I've got a towel to hand. It's probably easier if I just smother it and then throw it out the door, which is ultimately what I did. The door was open anyway, just, you know, for the fumes and the amount of smoke that thing gave off. But the long and short of it is, you buy cheap, you buy twice. You know, at the end of the day, these things, they cost 20 quid. That's 20 quid that's in my bin. I won't be using that again. I'm fairly certain I've probably done something wrong. Maybe I have. And if it is down to user error, then, you know, so be it. But if I'm an experienced Coleman user, if an experienced Coleman user can't get that thing to light safely and efficiently, then, you know, it doesn't bode well for non-experienced, you know, Coleman or petrol cooker users. To me, it wasn't safe. I wouldn't want it in a campground, not especially if I've got my grandchildren around. Yeah, to that end, it's gone. You know, I'm done with it. But it was interesting, quite fiery, and it was an interesting start to my first video of 2025. So, but we'll crack on. We'll do some more vids. Hopefully, they'll be of interest. This one, unfortunately, didn't yield much. I've probably wasted a lot of your time already. So, thanks for watching, and just remember, there's no point tickling it.